of 2001, Jim?
On September 11th, I was home. I got a call from my sister. She told me about the first plane having crashed. And I got up, watched television, and got direct orders from the news media, from our police commissioner to come into work. And I hopped up and I left. And I left my wife home with 3.5-month-old twins, almost 4, and another set of twins in her belly. And was scared for her more than for myself, and left her with a neighbor, a total stranger, if you will. And when came down here, did my job, and I did it for 4 years. I was down here for 4 years.
When you got here on that day, what did you see and what did you experience?
By the time I got here, it was already nighttime. My daytime assignment that day was guarding synagogues around the city to make sure that they didn't become a target, because they quite often are. And I say that sadly. It never should be that way in our beautiful country, but it is. And by the time I got down here, it was dark, and the soot was so thick you couldn't see the moon. You couldn't see the sky above you, and that soot stayed with us for days on end. But one of the things I remember clearly was the chunk taken out of 2 World Financial Center. When the towers fell, one of them, or part of them, came in to that building and took a piece out of the side of it, and this morning it looks pristine. I remember on day 8 or 9 coming back down here on South Street, and South Street was just used as a storage area for literally crushed police cars and fire trucks. And that's one of the things that stays in my head, because I could have been sitting in one of those police cars, and they were just literally crushed, and not because of anybody's determination, but because of the buildings falling on top of them.
Can you help us understand a first responder's mindset and thoughts on an occasion like that? Unprecedented occasion, of course, but I can vividly remember seeing the video of the firefighters and the police officers, Port Authority officers, running to the building, carrying their equipment, while people are running the opposite way, trying to get away from it. They had a job to do, and they were going to go do that job.
So many great Americans that came in here to 1 World Trade and 2 World Trade came in that morning to do their job. And when they ran away from the fire, it's because it wasn't their job. Their job was to get out of the way and let us do our job. And I came in that morning and I did my job, because that's what I was trained to do. And training indeed kicks in. You're dealing with a massive rescue operation, and that's what you do. But the people that you didn't see down here was not the families of the loved ones, not the people that worked in the buildings, not the police officers, but it was the politicians. They weren't down here swapping buckets. They weren't down here helping us, and they're the ones that are making some queer decisions today.
I want to talk about those, because the Feel Good Foundation is working very hard to make sure that those families are taken care of. So talk to us about that.
Feel Good Foundation is named after John Field, a pit bull, as I call him, who yells at you, and I love that, because in the Marine Corps you're taught that the yelling is the good part. You know, it's what happens afterwards. But John is a determined son of a gun who lost his foot down here at Ground Zero. It was only down here for 1 day, but he paid a great price. It was a large I-beam that probably weighed about 8,000 pounds that fell, and he jumped out of the way, and the last part of his body that was still there was his right foot, and he paid the price. But he then lost his home. He lost his car, he lost his health compensation, he lost his job, and he was determined to make sure that that wasn't going to happen to everybody else. Therefore was the Feel Good Foundation, and ever since we've been making sure that things like this Droga bill come to fruition, and it did. Anybody who tells you can't change City Hall hasn't met John Field and the Feel Good Foundation. And we walked the halls of Congress and Senate to educate them and make sure they learned what it is that happened down here, make sure they met the heroes, because we brought them with us, and make sure they realized that there was money that was needed. The CBO, the Correctional Budget Office, said this bill is going to need $10 billion. It passed with 4.6. That's not a great bill, but it's a start. It's a 5-year bill, and we'll make sure during that 5 years that it stays transparent, that the Special Master does her job. We're confident she will. She seems like a great person, but we're going to make sure we look over her shoulder. There's no secretary getting a $300,000 salary, and the Centers for Excellence located around the country served the heroes for what they did.
PTSD, we've learned now that there is some sort of cancer link, and we have learned about many other issues that have come from what happened here 10 years ago. The Feel Good Foundation, what are you guys doing with the money? Where will it go?
I wish we were the ones making that decision. We're there to make sure that others make the right decision. PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, became a federally recognized physical ailment, just 2006. And it messes with your whole body because of the stress involved. You may lose your liver over PTSD, screw up your breathing over PTSD, and so on. So we're about making sure that people who have PTSD get treatment. I spent some time chatting with a friend who was down in Florida last night to make sure he realizes what it is he's doing. I'm here with you today because I'm talking about PTSD, and that's my treatment. I'm confident that I'm doing something to the good of others, other police officers and firemen. And that's what PTSD is about. It's about stress that you get from doing your job, your heroic job, and these are the people that need our help.
I have a very good friend who's a well-known psychiatrist who just completed a book on this after a couple of decades of work with returning veterans of war. Dr. Harry Croft, and the name of the book is I Always Sit With My Back to the Wall.
Yeah. You're trained as a cop to sit with your back to the wall. That's just what your training is about. You sit in the back of the diner. You don't lean up against the wall in a hovel that somebody else may call a home because you don't know what's going to crawl into your jacket. This is the kind of things you get as a police officer, part of your training. But you know what? I'll tell you, the PTSD deal is dealt with by people in so many different ways. Some people bottle it up, and shame on them. They can't. They shouldn't. They need to talk to us. They need to speak to people. But if I may be so bold as to plug the Feel Good Foundation, it's FEAL Good Foundation, feelgoodfoundation.com. Talk to us. We don't have a membership. We don't tell you how many members we have because we don't know. We don't require you to pay a fee. You come to us, you tell us what it is you need, and if we can't give that to you, then we'll tell you where it is you can go to get it because we know you need it, and you may not know you need it, and we'll make sure that it's given to you either through the special master herself, if we have to bring you to her and introduce you, or through the many centers for excellence. We've got some incredibly good doctors that are in these centers of excellence, and they're there to help these people and make sure they get through this and help their family to get through it as well.
Finally, what do you hope that America learns from this tragedy?
There is bad in this world. When you're making your way down here and you've got to walk 20 blocks like I did this morning, your law enforcement is doing what they are doing because of intelligence. You're asking a Marine, so I'll tell you waterboarding is a good thing. We've learned that there is a reason for being tough in the Marine Corps, and I don't mean just physically tough, but mentally tough. If I can say anything about Ground Zero today, it should be better, it should be bigger, it should have been faster, but through the beauty of bureaucracy and government, it'll never be all of those things. We in the Feel Good Foundation just unveiled a park yesterday with the wall for the names of those who've died since 9/11. And 2 weeks ago, we fired the person who was supposed to give us that wall because they couldn't get it on time. And we unveiled yesterday, and the politicians that were there that came out of the woodwork to come get their photos with us, not only are they sorry they did that, but we pointed out to them that we got it done. We got it done through private money, donations, people like TJ Maxx, who donated $50,000, and Paul Napoli, a private attorney here in the city, who donated $50,000 out of his own pocket. And we built a $250,000 park in months. And let's look down here at this beautiful Ground Zero. It's still a pit to me, but it should be better, and it should have been quicker.
One more time, the web address.
Feel Good Foundation, FEAL goodfoundation.com. Go there and look for what it is you need, and go to a link from that site to the 9/11 Responders Remembered website, 9/11respondersremembered.com, and take a look at the beautiful park we built yesterday. And you'll see YouTube videos about the entire event. It's a gorgeous park with an incredibly gorgeous clock that looks over this park, and it'll be a living wall. And tragically, there will be more people added to that wall than there were who died here on 9/11 because of cancer and other ailments.
Bless you. Thank you for your service to our country, and thank you for your service on the day and since then.
Hoorah.
Thank you.
Pleasure.